Mad Gameverse is moving forward, and today we are adding an extra mechanic, which will be the shooting of a weapon. At this point, we're going to make the implementation of this process by creating the input actions and relating the input actions to the methods that we call. And after that, we will add a sound using free libraries from Fab. This is the Game Creator Accelerator, and I am Tony Munoz. Like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell. And remember that these entire videos are part of the creation of a third-person shooter named Mad Gameverse. You can follow step by step the development of this third-person shooter. All videos are part of this channel. And please help me spread the word. So don't forget to repost or share. And if because of life you feel that you are stuck in the process of creating a career in video games or even your independent path, visit Willen.com and learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program. I am helping new mentees today to develop their careers and their dreams in video games, one step at a time after office hours. You can also set a one-on-one chat with me to discover how the Game Creator Accelerator can change your life. Now, let's continue. In the last video, I made some adjustment to the BU's controller rotation so the character moves like this, but I'm thinking about another approach. So back in the shooter character implementation file, I'm going to change this parameter, which is the BU's controller rotation. Instead of true, I'm going to set it to false. And at the same time, I'm going to turn the controller rotation pitch to true. Let's save and go back to Unreal. Let's compile. Open the shooter character BP and let's look for the parameters use controller. And we want to leave the yaw false and the pitch true. Compile, save, map. And now let's test. And our character is rotating depending on the direction that we are taking. Let's now set the fire weapon. First, we go to Games, and in the inputs, I will create two new actions. Input action, shoot, start, and input action, shoot, end. Both of them will be digital bool, because I just need to detect at the moment that the action is executed. And it should end digital bool as well. And now let's add them to the input mapping context. I will add another mapping, one that will be for the shoot start. And the action will be the mouse, the left mouse click. And in the triggers, I will check when it is pressed. And add another one for the gamepad. Name gamepad right trigger. So gamepad right trigger. And again, add a trigger which will be the pressed. Save. And for the shoot end will be something similar. Let's go for the shooter end. Close this one. And it's the left click of the mouse, but instead of the trigger being pressed, now will be released. And another also for the gamepad. The gamepad right trigger digital. Add a trigger and released, just like the one at the top. And save. Back in Visual Studio, let's open the shooter character and we will add two methods, one for the shoot button press and one for the shoot button released. But first we need to connect to the two input actions. So let me copy this and add an input action when start shooting. And we call this one the object pointer input action shoot start action null pointer, and now we add another when ending shooting. Let me remove these two here. And again, T object pointer U input action shoot and action initialize with null pointer. Next, we can add the two private methods for the shooting. Let's call the first one void shoot button pressed, and the other void shoot button released. And as usual, let's add a comment so we can remember in the future. Method call when shooting a weapon. Method call when releasing the shooting button. And now let's use Visual Studio to generate the methods on the implementation file. One and the second, here they are. Because I want to just do a test and see if they work, let's add a UE log temp warning, and let's add a text that says shut button pressed. I want similar to this one at the bottom, shut button released, and save. Oh, let me save the header as well. Now we're starting to connect everything. We create the input actions, the mapping for this input. In the header, we created the input actions that we will associate later with the blueprint. Here are the actions or the method that we're going to call. And now we only need to set up the player input component. These are two different actions. So I'm going to copy the last enhanced input component and replicate it, and first call the action for the shoot start action, and the other will be the shoot end action. But different to the previous one, in the eTrigger event will be triggered, and here as well will be triggered. For the shoot start action, we'll call this method, which is the this method, which is the shoot button pressed. And for the release, well, as you can imagine, will be the release. Save, back in Unreal, compile. Now open the shooter-based character BP and look for the input and set the shoot start action for the IA shoot start and end action for the IA shoot end. Compile, save. Let's open the output log and test it. So here's my character. I'm clicking, and there you can see the shoot button press and the shot button release. I don't know what has happened with my English today. So press and release, pressed and released. But now I want to add a sound, because what is a shooting without a sound? Allow me to interrupt this educational process to talk about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program. If you're a person that already has their certifications in gaming industry but cannot find job opportunities, or if you are a person that already have responsibilities, other type of jobs, and you have to pay the bills, you have to support your family, but you also want to build a path into the gaming industry, there is an opportunity for you. And I want to invite you to visit Woolon.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Mentorship Program. Take our free training. And if you want to have a chat one-on-one with me, there is a link in the description. I can guarantee you that it will be a transformational conversation, one with the potential to change your path forever. Now, let's continue. First, let's go to Games and create a folder named Assets. And in Assets, a new folder called Sounds. Now let's open Fab. You can use this button, but if you don't have it, you can also go to Windows and Fab. And let's look for an asset called 50 Free Game Sounds Pack. Open this pack. As you can see, this license is free if you select the personal license. Add to the project. Once finished importing, you will find the library on this folder, Free Sound Pack. And here you have Q and WAVs, or WAV. I don't know how to pronounce this one. And inside them, you will find one called Gunshot. And we have the Gunshot 1-on-1 Q and Gunshot 7-1. Of course, you can add other libraries of sound if you have it to make your sound more special. At this point, I just want you to find something that it is free. If you create a library of sounds and you have the demo of the shooting and you want me to test it on MadGameverse, please let me know, provide me with the link and the access to it so we can test it. And of course, I will share the link for other people to download your library. Back to Visual Studio and to the shooter character header, now we'll add access to this object sound. In this case, we'll define it use property, edit anywhere, blueprint, read and write, category, let's call this one sounds, meta, allow private, access equals true. And then a T object, pointer, USoundCue, and we call this one shoot sound null pointer. Let's save the header and go to the implementation and to the shoot button press. This is where I want the sound to play. The first thing is to check that we have a sound. If not, we don't want to execute anything related to the sound. The second is I want to use a library called UGameplayStatics PlaySoundAtLocation. In order to do that, I need to include two libraries. The first one is include Kismet GamePlayStatics, and the next one is include SoundCue. Here it is .h. Back to our method. Now I can complete UGameplayStatics play sound at location, and the parameters will be this shoot sound, which is the sound that we want to play, and in the position of the actor, get actor location, and with this we have the execution of that sound. Save, back in Unreal, compile. Now select the sound, which is the gunshot 1-on-1, open the shooter base character, compile, and look for the sound, which is the shoot sound, and click here. This is the sound that was selected. Save, compile, save again, map, and let's see if this works. So here's the character, and here's the sound. Let's summarize what we did. First, we created an input actions for the shooter and when they start and when they action end, and then we assign that to the player context. Then in Visual Studio, we created a method for the shoot button press and the button released, that they are linked to the actions that we created a moment ago. These actions will be called in the implementation with these enhanced input components. They're related to every one of the actions. And here are the methods that we called. Inside the method, we also add the call to a sound. The sound was also set inside the header for the SoundCue, and we download a sound that it was called Gunshot 1-on-1 that we also assigned to this character. So we take another extra step and reducing the gap in the creation of our third-person shooter, MadGameverse. Take the time to process everything that we did and try to repeat it yourself, to know that the knowledge is inside your stomach, and then get ready for the next one. This is the Game Creator Accelerator. I am Tony Munoz. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, share, and remember that this is just one episode of many of creating this third-person shooter. And don't forget to visit woolun.com to learn more about the Game Creator Accelerator Lifetime Mentorship Program. And if you feel that you're ready to move to the next step, set a one-on-one call with me and let's figure out how I can help you with the Game Creator Accelerator. Until next time, Keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.